The dark night of the soul and forgiveness. Forgiveness is a huge thing, I believe, when it comes to going through a fundamental existential crisis. And forgiveness is probably the biggest act of detachment. It can set you free immediately, but that doesn't mean that if you affirm it 1,000 times, if you do all those mantras and even letting go techniques, that it will vanish, just overnight. From my experience, it doesn't work that way, even though I started working with forgiveness, with forgiving my parents specifically, maybe, 7 or 8 years ago, maybe even before that. And many, many times I thought that actually I forgave my parents because I came to this realization that they were very well meaning, that they wanted the best for me, and also they had gone through so much trauma. They were raised by people who actually survived the war in Europe. So, basically I just understood that. And for example, my mom, she lost her father when she was, around 7 or 8, and basically she was abandoned. She was left with my granny, and they didn't have an easy life, and I feel that she closed her heart. So basically when I realized that, I was crying like crazy, and I felt so much compassion. So it was a milestone, I would say, on my path to forgiveness. But now I can see that it wasn't over, that the process wasn't complete. And at this point, and after, I can say that now I have some maturity when it comes to, working with emotions, with many different things on a deeper level, and you can even say on a spiritual level. I can't really tell whether the process is complete. I would say that I've gone a long way, but still some things may not have been sorted, if you will. And it takes time, and I believe that acceptance is very important here. But at some point, I had this realization, because very often we are encouraged to do affirmations, and repeat sentences that would build us up, right? So, for instance, I am loved, I am celebrated, I am appreciated, I am seen, right? And then at some point I thought to myself, do I really see my mum this way? Could I tell her, would I be able to tell her, Mum, you are seen, you are appreciated, you are celebrated, you are loved, or even better, Mum, I see you, I appreciate you, I celebrate you, I love you. And for some of us, it may be impossible to say it in person, because maybe our parents are not here anymore. Or sometimes if we said something like that, maybe they would feel insane. I don't know. It's not always easy. But the thing is, you can always express it in one way or another, in a way that will be comfortable to you and the other person. You can also say it in your imagination, in your inner world. Like, just imagine your parent, look them in the eye and say it to them. I see you. I love you. I appreciate you. I see everything that you've done for me. Especially, I can see that you gave me life. That's the biggest gift that you can receive on this planet and the universe. I see you and I appreciate you. And again, I will say it probably, you know this already, but It's not about condoning specific behaviors, but it's about coming to terms with your past, because you can relive it for a very long time. You can feel angry about it, and there is time for that. But at some point, there comes a serious question. Do I really want to stay the victim of the past? Do I still want to feel angry? Am I waiting for some sort of justice that will never come? Or do I want to move on? Will I choose love and blessing the other person because, they also had their share of traumas and they inherited it from their parents and so on. And if you think about it, you can't really pinpoint who is to blame. And if you really think and feel about it, there is no one. There is no one to blame. You can keep digging. Oh, so whose fault is that? And there is nobody. There is nobody. And at some point when I realized that my mom had gone through the death of her parent prematurely when she was young, and she was raised in a challenging environment, so to speak. So, not enough money, very difficult reality, post-war reality. So as I told you, it was very moving for me, and I was crying, and I felt her pain in my heart, and I could see her as this little girl who was exposed to that. And again, who is to blame really? My grandmother who also experienced very, very difficult things in her life and in her childhood. Who is to blame? I strongly believe and I strongly feel that that's not the point of forgiveness, to be a detective. But basically, you just need to come to terms with it in your inner world and also see your parents. It may be much easier to say to us, when you're standing in front of the mirror and I see you, I love you. It's not always easy because sometimes we may feel uncomfortable if we don't feel enough, and it's quite common, I would say, in the culture that we live in. But basically, it may be much more difficult to say it to your parents in person or even in your imagination. And also you can express it in a different way, maybe offer your mom or your caretaker or whoever it is that you want to forgive, if you're lucky, to be able to do it in person. Sometimes you can offer them a cup of tea and ask them and how do you like it? Probably they will be able to accept this in a more comfortable way if they're not used to hearing those words, because it can be shocking if somebody tells you I love you. But you can experiment with that. I strongly encourage you to experiment with expressing love, because we can do it in so many different ways, and maybe at some point we will feel comfortable, to say it, I love you, I see you, I appreciate you, I celebrate you. And also keep this in your mind and heart, that whatever happened, just be grateful for the life that somebody gave you, because it's such a huge gift. And was it Pitbull who sang, "Every day above ground is a great day, remember that"? I must say that song, that video clip, is not really my style, but that sentence, "every day above ground is a great day, remember that," it does resonate with me. So, this is something that I would like to encourage you to do. If you feel that you still haven't forgiven, be it your parents or whoever, just explore this for a bit and try to actually do this. Bless the other person as much as you can, because that's where healing happens. Again, it's not about condoning behaviors and wrongdoing, and I'm sure you know that, but basically it's about our inner peace so that we can be better human beings, free human beings that don't repeat those behaviors, but basically they say goodbye to them. We say goodbye to our wounded past, to our difficult experiences, and we can finally move on. And maybe the act of forgiveness, the act of the biggest detachment, may be your way out of your dark night of the soul, of your crisis. It may be something that will finally set you free to do the things that you've always wanted to do. And I'm not saying that you should treat it as a project. So, like, now I forgive and I will get this and that. Don't do that because it won't work. But if you have a strong and authentic intention in your life and you see the other human being as part of you, you're another part of me. And if I had a share of difficult experiences and you contributed to that, there is a meaning in that as well. Because when we heal our traumas, we are very powerful catalysts. And also other people can benefit from that because we understand their pain. And it's such a beautiful aspect of being human that when we go through trauma and we decide that we will not close our hearts, and despite all the trauma, we still want to love. We still want to express this love and maybe help others go through the exact same thing, or their own experience that will be different to ours. But at the same time, if we understand the human condition, the human pain, and we can help somebody heal it a little bit, maybe we can provide space because they will see in our eyes that we do understand and we do have this healing touch. Sometimes we don't have to say a word, but they will know that we've gone through it, or we understand what pain means. We just understand that. We don't judge, and we also know how difficult it may be to get over it. We also understand that whoever did some injustice to us, whoever hurt us, they didn't do it because I don't know, you can come up with many different reasons, but basically they did it because they were suffering themselves. They were in so much pain, and basically it was a desperate cry for love. It's on a deeper level, and if you studied a course in miracles, you will know what I mean. So yes, I hope that this episode maybe shed some light on the topic of forgiveness, because I strongly believe that it's worth exploring and it's worth doing our best to complete the process. And on the other hand, remember that you can take an active part in that, but at the same time, it just takes time. And the pieces of the puzzle start coming together at some point, and before we realize, the process is complete. But we just need to trust that it will come together at the right time. So I wish you a lot of forgiveness, a lot of clarity, and I wish you a lot of freedom, because I do believe that truth sets you free, and forgiveness as an aspect of truth also sets you free, and it can take a load off your back, really. It can make your life so much lighter. So this is it. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time.